Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we talk a little bit about anime. We watch some anime during the week, and then we come together and discuss it. And this week we are going to be talking about Future Diary, episode 5 through 8. We've already done one episode on Future Diary with 1 through 4. So if this is the first time you're seeing us, go back one episode and watch that. Watch Future Diary, watch episode 5 through 8. Come and talk to us. Thank you so much for being here. We're live on Twitch, twitch.tv/JulesTheHuman, and broadcasting everywhere else on the next day on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And I'm not going down this Future Diary journey alone. I am with my co-host, Matt Galley. Matt, man, the diaries be hitting this week, huh?
This is a show where things happen for sure.
We're gonna dive into it because a lot of stuff happened, a lot's going on, a lot of stuff we didn't think would happen, a lot of stuff I predicted. I gotta say, I called it. But we're gonna discuss it all in a little bit. But next week is the last time we are gonna discuss Future Diary. So we're gonna watch up to episode 13. Do we decide?
We decided 13. Yeah.
13. So next week we're gonna watch 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, which shouldn't be that difficult, I guess.
An extra up.
Yeah, an extra ep than usual. 5 episodes by next week, and we're gonna discuss it, and then we're gonna pick a new anime. So if you would like to have, if you would like to suggest an anime, just drop us 500 bits during the live stream, and you can throw in a suggestion if you would like. And these are some of the suggestions y'all have given us before, and some of the ones that we've picked as well.
Dreams.
The chest of champions, and if you can't tell, I'm a little sick. It's not the big sick, so it's just a little nasal congestion. So if I sound different, that's kind of what it is. But 500 bits is shared between the both of us, and you get to add a suggestion that we get to pick next week what the next anime we're going to watch, because we're on the move. We've already done a ton of anime. We've already ranked a ton of anime here. On the left side is me, on the right side is Matt. We've already done quite a bit. We'll talk about it next week, but this week we got to talk about some really tough subjects, because in these episodes of Future Diary there's a lot of interesting topics, and I do want to issue like a trigger warning if you're watching it now or later on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Trigger warning for do I say it like how do I
Stuff, I guess.
essay stuff, assault stuff. We're going to be discussing those as little as possible, just our thoughts about the thing. They portrayed it. We're not going to discuss going too far in depth about what's actually happened during the shows. But yeah, it may be a little bit tough to hear if you're triggered by that stuff, and that's okay. We're moving on to another anime next week, so it's
which
totally
is the
cool.
beauty of the whole thing, right? We get to experience the show in these like pockets. We talk about them.
Taste.
Yeah, get a little taste. We talk about them as a group, process our thoughts on it, air it out, and we just leave it at that and let everybody else kind of join in on the convo.
Yeah. Let's get into episode 5, voice memo, because we were left in a really precarious situation last week at the end of episode 4. And how does it resolve in episode 5, Matt?
So episode 5 sees Tsubaki revealing her history and hate of what she describes as the invisible world, which is kind of like the world outside of the cell that she's kind of come to know over her life. Yuki, Yuno, and Tsubaki all continue to try to escape the temple. On the sideline, Kaigo calls in for backup because he's still trying to locate Minene, who's still in under capture from the 12th, who after the 12th hears their future change. They arm themselves with Minene's bombs and tell them that she should get out of there. And the 12th makes this like Super Sentai appearance introduction on the rooftops in front of Yuki, Yuno, and Tsubaki. The 12th is defeated by Yuno, but then Tsubaki turncoats and attempts to use Yuno as bait to lure Yuki out, because she was lying to them all along and she does want to become a god. Tsubaki reveals her motives and gets defeated by Yuki.
A couple things for sure. I okay, what do you think about the idea of um Yuki Yuki's one weapon are these darts? Like I think that's interesting. I guess we could start there with this picture here. I kind of like that he is destroying the other diary holders because they are like usually parchment paper or something like that and able to
Hmm.
destroy their diary with just darts, which is kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that just in this way that the rules have been set up and in the, I guess, the reality that the show presents us, when Yuki destroyed the other diary with his dart, it was the phone, and the phone getting pierced by a dart, like, it breaks and it's no longer operational. So to
Yes.
me, that's their diary breaking. When he hit her scroll with the dart, in my head, I'm like, well, she can still write on that. She can still use that. It hasn't become inoperable. So I thought nothing was going to happen because he hit it
Yeah.
with the dart, and then she still gets big twisty.
So yeah, so then that also brings up a lot of questions as well, right? Like, so with her scroll, she couldn't get like a piece torn off a little bit. Like she would have to keep it so pristine to where like one little rip or one little thing will like fuck it up. What about what about his phone? Everybody's phone. What if it runs out of battery? Does that count as dying? What if you
and
run out of battery?
and how her whole cell became like engulfed in flames for a moment. What if a little piece of that just got charred and, like,
Yeah.
just a little piece of flame just like and like
You would
chars
that
one of the
that's
sheets.
initially, like, when like, you said that, and then that's what I thought when I was like, "Oh, so they're, like, super sensitive, like, you have to, like, keep it like that." Well, then later on, how does fucking Ray keep his little book whatever, you know? Oh, anyways, um, we get a lot of, stuff here in this episode. So we find out this whole thing was, like, a fake thing that her parents set up, Tsubaki's parents set up to be a fake deity, sort of. And then it became real because of the diary
Mhm.
that was bestowed upon her later on. And when she was talking about the what was it, the outside world, I just thought of the outside world as the world she couldn't see. Like you said, it was outside of her cell, like
Mhm.
the but
The
I thought
invisible world.
yeah, I thought the invisible world was her because she couldn't see a whole lot, which is like
Well, to
cool.
me, like, she can't even see outside of the cell, so
Okay, yeah, that's true because she was just in the cell
that's
and she
why
couldn't
she's in
see
there,
past her.
apparently, because her
Yeah.
vision's so bad.
What there's a lot of stuff, and I'm just like, this is like really situational. Again, like I said last week, a lot of this stuff has you going out on limbs, like a lot.
Leaps
Uh,
of logic.
leaps of logic quite a bit. And it's like we're playing a game of yes and I'm like, I'm all I'm all yes anded out. They're like, yes, and she can't see past her arms. It's like, okay, sure, yeah, yeah. And she has this, and she has her parents set it up so that she is the god, and these people worship her. It's a cult kind of. I'm like, okay, yeah,
We
sure,
kind
let's
of got that.
okay. And then we keep going, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, I guess. So that's kind of how I feel um with this and with this whole thing. Um apparently the cult was doing some really weird things to her, and like it's understandable her hate for the world, right?
Yeah,
Tsubaki reveals that she wants to become god to destroy the world
basically.
because of what the people did to her, because they had their way with her and all this stuff, and they treated her really badly and all that stuff. And like I understood her motives. um did you like get the whole turn? I did not expect her to turn on them at the end.
No, yeah, given like I was saying at the with last episode that she just seemed to be very very nice and kind to Yuki and like telling him like, "Hey, woman intuition, that girl over there is crazy psycho." Just so you want just in case you want to know that.
Mhm.
Um so it seemed like, she was being set up uh to be like his friend or whatever, but then the moment that she realized she wasn't in danger, like she was like, all right, now I can flip the switch. And it was even after she flipped the switch, she mentions like, oh, great, things are under control, my dead end must be gone, open scroll, and it's still there.
No.
And then she
Yeah.
was like, oh, what's going on? And then And also in that moment, how how Yuno was able to like just break out of the
Okay,
capture of the
it's
guards or whatever. This,
it's again, it's like yes, and they're just rolling critical rolls here,
yeah,
and it's like, okay, breaks out. It's like I rolled a 20, so she does it, and it's like,
yeah.
oh, okay, I guess.
And I don't get why up to this point, Yuno wouldn't have just gone for a kill shot on Tsubaki. Like, what is stopping her? What is stopping her? Nothing. Apparently, these cultists like
Yeah.
can't overpower her. Like, like until there was like 6 of them, but with whoa, sorry, it started. It's like storming outside.
Oh no.
Uh, given the way things were set up, I feel like Yuno would have just like gone for it, but she cuts her arm
Gets
off
her arm off.
instead. Yeah.
Which was a
Um,
really cool scene because I wasn't even thinking about Tsubaki when she was like, "Oh, I need to write down in my diary," and then she didn't have an arm, and I was like,
yep.
"Oh," like that
Yep,
was
yep,
kind of
yep.
cool. I was like, "Okay, I'll give it that." Um, what was going on with the 12th? Because I still don't understand what the whole
I d-
Justice Diary is. The ninth. What was it?
I thought he
No,
was the 12th.
the 12th. Uh, had the 5 people there. They were able to do hypnosis on the 4 people. And huh? What's
So the 12th was hypnotizing a couple other people into being like in his like group or
but like
whatever.
why? What was his whole thing? Like he wanted to bring justice to the world. Was he just like weird, crazy? Like
Possibly. Because I
okay.
think if I'm remembering correctly, his whole justice thing was that anybody that is having the things done to them like is obviously the bad guy because justice always prevails. No, so if I'm the person just doing things to other people, it's justice because like that's justice always finds a way. That was his that was his little
Yeah.
spiel that he had.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Um
and this. Oh, look,
yeah.
and he has 4 other people with him. Yeah.
I mean, which was a cool shot,
Yeah, it
but
was,
like
but, like, in in
okay.
the show, how it's not helping us continue, like, keeping a sound train of logic for continuity purposes. I
No.
don't but I don't think that's what the show is kind of emphasizing at this point. It's not really trying to be a strong show with its continuity or anything. It's just trying to present situations and and Yuki what happens when they're thrown into it.
I are we not going to talk about okay, well, I guess we can go to the end. Or we can save it to the end. But throughout this whole all these episodes and still we have not talked about what was in Yuno's house.
Oh yeah, dead
And
people. The
he
show
still hasn't
hasn't talked about it.
the show hasn't talked about it. Yes, sorry. But like are we just not going to mention that? Like Yuno's there scared and stuff, but please confront her again, I guess. I don't know, do something, man.
And I
Uh
thought that's what happened in episode 4 with him saying, like, you're crazy. If I stayed at your house that night, I would have ended up like those people. And that's how the show kind of handled. I thought that's how the show was handling it. But then in this episode, yeah, it's just completely disregarded it because, again, the whole situation where she was like, choose to come with me and live or stay with her and die. And then he still, yeah,
So
let's
so
go.
he yeah, so he made his choice by choosing both of them, but then he did find out that she was right, that
Yeah.
Was right. So does he just like, okay, she was
Yeah,
right.
it's like
I need to
just
trust
because
her.
she was right that Tsubaki was trying to kill you or whatever doesn't mean that there
You
weren't dead people still in her house, bro. Please,
let
there
me
can two
disregard.
two things can be right at the same time.
No,
She
but
has
she
dead
was
people in her
right.
house.
It's okay.
She was right about what was going on in the temple.
Bro, me
Those
and
can both
who?
be true.
All right, episode 6. What goes on in episode 6 because we get a whole like also we wanted to mention that whole the weird stuff. We just got to mention it. The whole way that they handled all of Subaki's trauma, just call
Yes.
it trauma, all the
And
stuff
how
that she
she
went
unloaded
through,
that on
how she wanted to make that person as well so she can be damaged goods. and it's so wild. Me and Matt agreed before this. That's the wrong way to do it in an anime. I get it that she's a bad person, but like I still gotta think that these are people writing this stuff
Exactly.
and making the show this way.
Oh,
So like
trauma makes
there's
people bad, and bad people do bad things to other people, like things that happened to them. It was just a very bad way of handling it,
yeah,
and
and
bad
and
taste.
bad taste, the words that they used, saying somebody that has been essayed is damaged goods is just such a weird thing to put in an anime and so unnecessary. And I think we just gotta say that first
Yeah.
before we go past this episode because it really hit me and caught me off guard. I was like, oh, that's gross, like overly gross to say in an anime. Um, episode six,
Episode 6.
episode five gets wiped away here, and then we go on a whole another a little
Yeah,
arc.
that kind of that arc, the Tsubaki arc, the cult arc closes.
They're
The
dead. We
Cult
got
of the
two
Lamb
more.
arc closes.
We got two more diary people dead, and then episode six, manor mode. What happens?
Episode 6 begins just kind of with I thought it was a flashback sequence first, just real quick, where
Mhm.
like it shows breaking into a house, and I thought it was her breaking into like her house way back when, and we were finally going to get touched on with that. But no, breaks into Yuki's house because she knows that his mom is coming into town. Rhea, Yuki's mom, had also agreed to take care of one of the kids of the victims of the cult incident, and this kid basically has an out for because they were in the cult, and they also received maybe some feedback on who was there.
Mhm.
But into the next episode, we do discover that this child, Ray, Reisuke, Ray for short, is also a is also a
Diary
diary
holder.
holder. Thank you. Yes.
Mhm. First thing I thought, Yuki's mom is hot. I thought this was another girl just like coming on to Yuki. I was like, "Oh my god, who is this girl now that he's with?" And it was like, "Mom." And I was like, "Huh? This is your mom." So her name is Rhea Amano, and she's a game company programmer. Um, and how did you feel about this whole hiding hiding from his mom and like this whole little sequence? Like, was it
It's
cute? Did it hit? What was it for you?
with the context of the the rest of the show, it's not cute. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's just like you said, the with how that situation happened with him at her house, it's just like, how do we end up back here? How is this what's
I
happening?
tell me about the bodies,
Yeah,
please.
exactly.
Talk about the bodies in the basement
They can't just show that and then just like have
and then just
Yuki just
filler.
like Yuki's just like, oh, but she's like, he might have even relented in the last episode or this one, I can't remember, where there's a moment where he's like, oh, but she's really cute.
I think it was the end of last episode.
She's obviously not normal, but oh, she's really cute. It's just like, dude, come on.
Brother,
What do
listen,
you mean?
sometimes you
The
can
manic pixie syndrome cannot be that bad, my friend.
it's the
Dead
500
bodies.
it's the 500 days of summer. She likes the same things I like. Bro, if that ain't me and Yuki on the same level. Um, thank you for the follow, Jen Stang. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, bro,
Yes.
yeah, it
The whole sequence of that, it's like, yeah, how are we back into slice of life when we were supposed to be in a battle royale do or die like game right
I
now?
see. I don't think it's all bad because we're not saying it's bad. It's just tonally shifting so hard from the left to the right that it's trying to be two different anime when one of them would have been great. Pick a lane, you know what I mean? Like it keeps going back from like
From
y-
Zombieland Saga to Psychopaths.
sure.
It's like
Yeah.
juggling back and forth between those tones.
Yeah, it's like it needs to stay in one and it's trying to give us both and it's not really succeeding because I like if this was like a romance whatever, I can see it happening because we still don't know why loves Yuki. It could just be it's never going to be explained
Infatuation,
why.
whatever.
It's
Yeah.
just an infatuation. It's never going to be explained. I'm already we're at episode 8. It's probably never going to be explained. It's just a common thing now. But um like if it was a romance anime, cool. Okay, go on adventures, do stuff, beat hide her from your mother, whatever. But we're battling for our lives here to be the next god of time and space, bro. You don't have time right now, bro. Yuki is one of my I love and I hate him. I don't know if I want to say he's my least favorite protagonist right now, but I just uh,
I want him
he's
to be more proactive.
yeah.
That's my thing. I feel like he does a lot of screaming. He does a lot of whining and a lot of crying, and,
And a lot of saves him.
yes, and, that's why I did like the moment with him being able to throw the dart, come to Yuno's rescue. We get a moment in the next episode where he does kind of rescue Yuno as well, but yeah, in this episode, it really had me at a loss until I saw, like, Rei, the Reisuke,
Uh,
with the little dolls like, "Hi, what's your name? Hi, what's your name?" And everybody steps away, and then he's, like, just smashing the dolls into each
yeah,
other. I was like, "Okay, something's up with this kid." And I
yeah,
like that. I like that the show managed to bring it back around with something, but then it's like, okay, you have now, it gets into it next episode.
yeah,
You
yeah,
have a kid being the diary holder, a literal
yeah.
child, and
A
it's
child.
again a child.
No.
It's again the implications of like, yo, so we're bringing kids into this death game now? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Where are the lines drawn for where the show wants to go?
Sure. Let's talk about the future diary part, the not romance stuff now, because we did find out there are 9 out of 12 left of the diary holders, and they're going really fast. We're finding them, we're killing them off, we're losing them, and you know, this is not the I figured out that this story that they're telling right now is the preamble to the actual story they want to tell because they're going super fast. Something's going to happen. We have 24 episodes and they're killing them off way too quick for this entire story to be about the diary keepers. So this is going to lead to something else, and I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Um
and then I'm sorry, and then we also saw in episode 5, um Kaigo and Manene are now like in contact with each other, and
yeah.
he like let her loose.
Yeah.
He was
And
like,
he's
"I'll
giving
let
her
you go, but
information.
one condition, give me your phone number." And now they're just like, yeah, now he's feeding her a bunch of different
Which
information.
goes to
And
what
it's
we
like,
talked
where
about
is that
last
going with that?
yeah, which possibly goes to what we were talking about last week, where I think she's gonna be on the good side. I definitely think she's coming over. But that whole thing was taking a back seat this week,
Yeah,
which is kinda
of
wild.
course. Yeah.
Tucker asked, "Is Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated one, considered an anime?"
We we kind of talked about that a little bit on like the first episode, I think, where it kind of gets is anything that is in the medium of animation considered an anime, or is the term anime more so talking about like Eastern influenced animation? And I would consider Avatar: The Last Airbender one of the earliest examples of like Western media trying to emulate Eastern media
Yeah.
with animation.
Um, I would consider it an anime.
Yeah.
Even though I do know that it is Western,
Hmm.
and I know it does not have a feel like anything else. It doesn't have a feel of Eastern uh, anime,
Hmm.
but I would still consider it as part of an anime, I guess. I
It
don't know.
follows a lot of the same tropes that you would find, even though the vibe check of it is just a bit more reeled in and a bit more like grounded, fortunately. Is that CZ?
CZD is here taking a break from making out with his girlfriend to give
Oh,
us 500 bits. Thank you for the 500 bits, CZ. Hi, you lovely peeps. Add Dimension W to the drum of Dummy Dumb Anime.
I like that
Um,
one.
bro, I love you, CZ, because I love you and hate you because Dimension W has been on my list as well to watch. So Dimension W, thank you for the 500 bits. I appreciate it. On the podcast. I'm sorry. It just comes out sometimes. I'm sorry. Okay. I'll be professional. Um,
We'll edit that in post.
Mention W. Thank you so much for the 500 bits. I appreciate it, CZ. Um, so we figured out that there are 9 out of 12 left of diary keepers left. And we also, from a throwaway line, we also find out that Deus Ex Machina's body is deteriorating, which could possibly be why he needs to find a successor really quickly, which could be why he's putting up the game, making the game happen and all that stuff. But like that's interesting development. I want more of that stuff. I want more of what's going on over there because this is a big deal. This is the god of time and space, and there's a death game going on, and nobody seems to be like going crazy. Like, if I was in this death game, I would be like what's her name? The
Manao? Manene?
Minene. I'd be like that. I'd be going crazy. I'd be like, we got to get this going. Not like what Yuki and Yuna are doing, which is
Bro, Yuno just wants to marry Yuki. That's literally all she cares about.
and she says that in either this episode or next episode, where like the end game is her happy ending. And she like, was it this episode? Yes, I think it was, where she meets her mom.
Mhm.
That the mom really likes,
The mom basically gives them a bedroom, says, "I'm sleeping downstairs, just don't make too much noise." And then Yuno's like, there it's in the middle of the night, and Yuno's like, "Aren't you gonna make a move on me?" And he's like, "No." And she's like,
no,
"Look, you're going to eventually at some point, so there you go. There you go,
here's my
buddy."
future diary, and we are gonna eventually do it.
Yeah.
And that's what she thinks her happy ending is in her diary. And it's like, whoa, like you're gonna love me, you're gonna fall in love with me. I'm just I'm already here, you know what I mean? It just which is weird, which is wild. But again, me and who. Almost had to use her tools on Yuki's mom if she wasn't nice. So there's still that lingering
Crazy.
craziness that she even states that she
She would have
would have
unalived
killed.
she would have unalived Yuki's mom if she didn't like give her her blessing.
Bro, huh?
If she
She's in
wasn't
your
so
house, bro.
receptive to Yuki having a boyfriend, it would have been, well, I gotta take care of that, otherwise I can't have my happy end.
That's so weird. That's so wild. And we are just going with it. Okay.
Yep.
I want to know what are the bodies? Okay. Um
Bodies.
yeah. We meet the new boy who is the son of a coworker that died in the incident, like you said, and Ray is their name, and it's alluded to that Ray is also a diary keeper. Um, let's go on to episode 7, answering machine, because it ramps up really quickly. What happens in episode 7? Matt?
Episode 7 basically sees the game breaking loose in the house as Yuno and Yuki attempt to find Ray's diary. At the same time, Ray is continuously trying to beat Yuki and Yuno. So it's kind of like just a series of events this episode. Poisoned tomatoes, electrocution attempts, like there's a whole bunch of tomfoolery going on. Some Tom and Jerry-esque antics, and it ends with getting, or I mean, it ends with getting the upper hand on Ray and managing to destroy their diary. However, Ray leaves a harrowing warning that the game will eventually pit and Yuki against each other regardless.
Not wrong.
Not wrong,
But
yeah. That's the way it works.
So Ray has the Hypervision Diary, which is a picture diary that only updates morning, noon, and night. So they only get updates 3 times a day, which is a cool thing. How have you been feeling about the diaries that we've been given? Like, that's a cool concept.
It is a cool concept, and I like that again, going off of the scroll with the clairvoyant diary. I like when they do, and the 12th having the audio recording diary. Yeah, I like the play on different types of diaries because the first 3 we see are cell phones, so I thought it was just going to be phones the whole time. So I
Yeah.
like that they're continuing to mess with that concept. It's fun. It's a neat way of neat way of keeping both Yuno and Yuki on their toes, because they don't know for sure what other people's diaries are going to be when they
Yeah.
meet them, if they
Um,
meet them.
the
Who's the
first,
stand person? Who's the stand user in the crowd? The stand user.
yeah. They keep showing us the silhouettes, and they keep getting filled in by people we find out
Yes.
our diary keepers. So it's really cool noticing them now. So in the first Tom and Jerry esque thing that happens, noticed that the weight of the tomato changed
From when she was washing
from
them.
when she was washing it to the when she was about to put it in her mouth. Huh? Okay. It's
Cherry
another
tomatoes.
cherry tomatoes, the little ones. Another leap in logic that continues to make me just a little off about this, man. Like,
She's just
what
a hyper aware everything, right? She is.
is she now?
Can we please rename Yuno to
Yeah.
Mary Sue? Like, come on.
I, hold on, don't eat that salad. I noticed that this weight was off a little bit because there's poison in it now, bro.
And
What
Ray
are you?
absolutely like lost it. The fact that
Yeah,
picked that up, they're like, "Oh, now it's getting fun."
that should have been it. That and this is
They
a
should be
5 to
dead.
6 year. This is a 5 to 6 year old.
Yeah.
Again, like, I wrote this a while. I wrote this for later on in the episode, but like, why? Okay, whenever Ray is finished and Ray gets stabbed or whatever, and they're on their deathbed and they're talking and monologuing as they're dying, we get it. Um, sh- they were talking to each other that he wanted to kill an elite to be an elite,
That's right. I didn't
whatever
understand what was going on with that.
whatever that means. Okay, cool. Um, and then says that she's not elite in any way. And why are we getting advice from this 5 to 6 year old person? Because this 5 to 6 year old is like, you're gonna have to kill each other eventually. He's gonna eventually turn on you, or she's gonna eventually. This is a 5 year old. How are they having that concept right now? And why are they taking him seriously? He
I feel
plants
like
the
they mixed
idea.
up the 12th and Ray's like character motivations.
I would have loved if Ray was in the little Gotchaman whatever
Yeah.
things. Like, that would have been great. Uh, but like
And then that
these
guy should have been having some sort of intellectual conversation about where the implications of the game is going to
yes.
take them. Not a
Yes.
6-year-old. Yeah.
Uh, one, why are they giving us these antagonists as like a meta, like meta outside of the story? Why are they giving us these sort of antagonists? And then inside the story, why did Deus Ex Machina pick these people to have a diary? It's not really connecting to me as like, what, like, why? What are they doing? How are they bringing the story better? How are they bringing more to this story other than loves Yuki, and that's pretty much all I'm getting from this, which is cool, which is fine. But I was they set it up so well to have such a different story,
Mhm.
and this is
Well,
this is not the story that they're telling, though.
like I said a bit earlier, the show has kind of turned into like post the house, post going to Yuno's house, anything that the show throws at us this far is just, what situation can we put Yuno and Yuki through together to have them end up like closer by association of having them go through that together. That's what I'm seeing happen, just
If they
like
were
with
gonna
every
do
event
that,
after that.
they could have made a slice of life of them just going to the amusement park, them doing that whole thing, and that would have been great. But them bringing this into the whole death game thing and having it so that they're saving each other, and that's how they're going to connect, and that's how they're going to trauma bond, and he's going to eventually fall in love with her. Huh?
That's
I don't know.
wild. That feels like where it's going,
Feels like where it's
especially after
going.
episode 8.
Um yeah, I it was cool. I mean, I don't know how to what are your feelings about this? Because we get introduced to new characters. They could become a diary keeper, or we find out they're a diary keeper, and then they go on a little thing, and then next one, and then
Yeah.
next one. We've already gone through so many diary keepers, and it's going so quickly.
If more of the diary keepers had been handled like Menene, I think I'd like it a lot more, but that's just in 3 episodes, we saw 3 keepers die right
Yep.
here.
Yeah.
In episode 5, 2 of them died, and in episode 7, which is only 2 episodes later, so over 3 episodes, 3 have died.
Which reinforces the idea that this isn't the story they're gonna tell. This is just they need to get to
The
this. They need to
epilogue.
get through this.
Mhm.
All this other stuff, the death game was the start, and now it's gonna ramp up at some point, which I'm ready for, but for this
I don't know if
podcast,
I'm
we're
ready
not gonna be
for
able to see that.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know if you're ready for
I
that.
don't know
Sure.
if after the way it's like things have been handled so far, like I mean, we're not done talking about all the rest of them yet, but yeah,
Sure.
I'll say it. These episodes were I kind of slogged through these. I was like not having a fun time watching
Sure.
these episodes. I gotta say, after I was ready. I was ready to walk back in and be like, "All right, I'm glad that the show like went this way, and like I'm so excited for it." But after episode 5, I was just like, that really took the air out of my sails, so to speak,
Because you
in
really
my
like Subaki,
because I
and
really like
Subaki
Tsubaki,
died.
and Tsubaki didn't die the way that I thought that they were gonna die, which I was happy for.
Oh my
But
god.
just like all the all the TW stuff that happened in episode 5 and then leading into episode 6, which just felt so slice of life like we were talking about. I'm just like, oh my god, when can we watch the show?
It gets good at episode 15, I promise. Just watch until episode 15. No, I don't know. Yeah, so let's keep going. Again, if y'all are watching, let us know your thoughts. We would like to, if you're watching the show, let us know your thoughts. We'd love to know your thoughts because, again, we're not going to like everything, and that's okay. And we're going to move on after next week. We're going to watch episode 9 through 13, and then we're going to go to another anime. So, yeah, these are just our thoughts for the animes that we're going through. And these are honest and our first watches. So we're just
Yes.
describing it how we see it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into episode 8, new model, because again, clear swipe into the next little story. Here we go.
Freaking just Star Wars transition.
Yeah.
Like
Just next.
episode 8 sees Yuki and Yuno starting a new school because that's happening. After making some new friends, Hinata and Mao, as well as meeting up with an old friend who goes by Kosaku. They all decide to check out a crime scene that happened nearby, and Yuno tags along as well. She wasn't really there when the plans were being made, but she's obviously going to tag along with Yuki. She seems kind of reserved the whole time that everybody's hanging out at the park until eventually Hinata kind of takes off on their own. And into the late evening, the whole group comes upon Hinata, who seems to have ran into some trouble and become a victim of the whoever it was committing the crime in the park as well. They find themselves all cornered by these dogs with metal like jaws, and along with this other person who showed up who goes by Aru. They all take shelter in a observing deck where Yuki uses his diary to tell everybody what windows to reinforce for the zombie horde, and they make it through sunset, and the dogs mysteriously take off. Hinata and Mao reappear, and they plot twist weren't Yuki's friends this whole time. They were actually after Amano over there, and they want his diary, but they're holding Yuki hostage. Don't understand what's going on right now. I gotta say, like we've been talking about, just here's a whole nother handful of characters with names in this episode, with motives, whatever, and Yuki and Yuno gotta make it out. Oh boy, here we go again.
Sure. And my thought is that they're probably all gonna die pretty soon in like the next episode again, because then we're gonna meet some new cast of characters. Um, so we meet. So they go into another school because their last one was like blown up a bunch, which is valid, I guess. They had to still go to school, which sucks. But they meet Hinata, Mao, but they Yuki also sees Aru watching him like at the bus
At the bus
stop or
stop.
something like that, and they leave. And they later say that Aru is a weird kid in the class who
He
is
always
playing
runs off playing
detective.
detective, yeah.
Yeah. Who does that for some reason. Okay, cool. And when they mentioned it, I was like, oh, that was the guy that was watching him. Of course, it makes sense. But then again, like they keep they're trying to keep your attention, right? Because they had this little scene in the school in the classroom where Yuki pulls down Hinata's pants and like shows her underwear, and I'm just like, why do they keep
Why?
adding these things
Yeah.
like that? What?
Why? Why?
These little slices of stuff happen that don't need to happen. Um, and I'm just like, okay, cool. Here we are. And then they have this whole thing about him being a pervert, and I was like, okay, cool. And he wants to be friends with them because he doesn't have any friends. He's never had any friends, which I forgot about. I forgot that he was such a recluse and he didn't have anybody that liked him at his old school, and which is also weird why really is infatuated with him. um because again, I was like, oh yeah, that was the whole reason why we started this thing, because she was
Yeah.
infatuated with him. She never talked to him, and he had no friends, and like she wants him, but he doesn't want her now, but he does want friends. So he doesn't want but he wants to have friends, and these are his first friends that he's making. And it turns out that they're not friends. It turns out that they were going to use him to
As
do
bait or whatever.
yeah, as bait or whatever. There's another person doing murders around there in the same area.
Yeah.
uh
We get a little cutaway. So again, back to the real story that we want to see. We get a cutaway of at with Deus, and there's a user, a diary user that says like, "Hey, I want to relocate my diary to somebody else." And we don't get to see who, what, when, but we do get to kind of pick up the notion that that guy that wanted to give up his diary is the one controlling the dogs, because it cuts away to like his HQ or whatever, and he's cooking a fine meal, and it turns out that the
all
meal
the
he was cooking
stakes.
is just for like a bunch of different dogs that he has, and he enjoys a fine cup of noodles
Yeah,
while they're
which
all dining on steak.
which I associated that because at the end of it, they showed and they moved the camera to a picture of a family, and I thought that's Hanada's dad. So that's what I kind of picked up from it,
I must have missed
because
that. It must have been right when I
because
looked down.
the guy that had all the dogs in the family portrait, it was him, or it was
And
a
then
cover face of him.
she says the diary. What's the name of the diary she says? She
The
reveals the
breeder
name of her
diary.
the breeder diary. So dog breeders.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it was like a family photo of two parents and then a little girl, and they focused on the little girl like as a child. And I was like, "Oh, I guess that's assuming that's Hinata." I was
So
supposed
she
to
was literally just playing dead with all the dogs out there in the forest.
yeah, with an
Because I was
arm.
like, how yeah, well, I was like, how did that happen? Like, how did she okay, that makes sense.
Probably because she's,
She's the one controlling the dogs.
she's the one controlling
Probably.
the dogs because that's her dad and she's been around the dogs for her whole life, whatever, whatever. Um so that you brought up a good point, or a good part here, where we saw the guy with the breeder diary say that he wants to lend out his diary to somebody else, which we assume is Hanada, because they haven't explained it. They're probably going to explain it next episode when they die. But um, so Dose didn't expect this either. So there's still some sort of free will, not just from Yuki, because this is the first time that somebody other than Yuki has surprised him, which was interesting for me. Because I like this whole other storyline, this the real storyline that's going
Yeah.
on, that he picked these sets of people for a reason, I guess. And Yuki so far, he's been super impressed with Yuki and how he can't predict and he changes in the entire timeline and all that stuff. But we
Causality.
causality is crumbling or whatever. And now we see another player that has surprised Dose, which was interesting. And I'm like, I want more, I want that to come of something. I want that to be a thing. Like he still doesn't know. He picked these people for a reason. I want to believe that he picked these diary people for a reason. It might not be it from what we've seen before. A child, the
A child.
weird, a justice, uh, what is it called?
Super
A Super
Sentai
Sentai
man.
character. I want to believe that these people were picked for a reason, and I don't know if we're gonna get that, but I still believe that these were picked because they have the ability to change things somehow.
I just repeating that line, causality is crumbling, hearing you repeat that just gave me the thought that maybe causality is crumbling is the thing of Yuki seeing the dead bodies and then still being friends with maybe that's causality is crumbling.
Oh, okay.
Maybe no other
It's
rational person would just be like okay with what's going on like Yuki is,
true.
because
So
what
it
the
could
heck?
still
I can't get over it. I can't get
it's
over that that's not a thing, a bigger
it
thing.
sure, it still could be Yuki because all of these other changes are still because he is still talking to this girl,
Exactly.
bro.
Exactly.
Red flags, my guy. Come on, dude. She's cute and all, but okay, this episode,
Sorry. Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
meet a lot of new people. Hinata, Mao, Aru. It turns out that they're diary holders. They're not they're not his friends. Shocker. But it turns out Hinata and Mao were working together to trick Yuki to lure Aru because Aru is a diary holder apparently, and Hinata has the breeder's diary, and Hinata is after Aru Akase's diary.
And I just love how casual god, all these new names.
Yeah.
I love how casual Mao just walked up to Yuki after they like survived the night. Like just took his phone out of his hands and just like put a knife up to his neck, and he just stood there.
Yep.
He just like didn't react.
Yuki
Bro,
is the worst.
do something other
Yuki
than reading your
sucks.
phone.
Yuki literally told them the whole thing. He was like, "Oh yeah, my phone tells me the future."
Yeah.
And uh yeah, this is the thing.
Yuki,
It's like,
literally
"Bro,
have some sense of self-preservation for
please, dog."
once.
Yeah. I mean, but is it in his character though?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
is it?
It's the naivety,
But
I
I don't
feel
like
like.
it. But
Yeah.
like, I can understand it.
Causality is crumbling.
Yeah, I understand it, but I just don't like him as a main character. Who am I rooting for here? This whole time I'm thinking, and I did want to bring this up. Who am I rooting for? Am I rooting like what are they telling the audience that they want? Are they telling us they want us to believe Yuki and Yuno are going to get together? Is that what we're supposed to be rooting for? Because she's crazy. She's killed people, I'm assuming. I mean, she has killed people. We've seen that, but like she's killed other people, probably her family. I don't know yet.
She's killed people in self-defense, but it seems as though she has just killed people.
She has the ability to just kill people. Um, what are we rooting for? For Yuki to
I'm
be the god of time and space? I don't want that now because
I'm
Yuki
rooting
sucks.
for Rhea, Yuki's mom, to be okay because
True.
hit her in the head,
True.
and I just want her to be okay. That's what I'm rooting
Yeah.
for.
I would like Minana. That's her name, right?
Nata?
Minata to be
Or
the god of time and space.
oh,
That's who I want.
I'm sorry, Minene.
Manene. Manene.
Yes,
I
yes.
want Manene to that's what I'm rooting for. Manene has a great character arc going on in the background, not seen in these 4 episodes at
We
all.
get barely anything. We get
Please. She
crumbs
got
of
she got an
Minene.
eye patch. We got
Oh,
a
yeah, and she got
crumb.
a glass eye.
Yeah. Glass eye, but an eye patch over it,
Yeah. I was yeah.
which is I don't know. I don't know how that works, so whatever. Um, but I want her to be the god of time and space. That's who I'm rooting for in all this. We see a ton of Yuki, a ton of I don't want all that. Give me more Minene.
The Yuki and Yuno train has sailed for me. I'm like, I just go do your thing, please. Let me see the game.
Yeah, I was so excited for this
The show's
game.
called The Future Diary. Like, let me
Yes. I
see
mean,
the game of The Future
we're
Diaries.
getting a lot of Future
We're
Diaries,
getting a
but
lot of Future Diaries, but it's just like it's the context.
yeah, for sure. So next week is the last time we're going to talk about this show. What are you hoping for here? Because I'm assuming this is going to be the end of a good of an arc because this is about halfway through the show. Do you think we're going to just go kind of like monster of the week? We're going to see another future diary holder. Okay, let's go on to the next little thing, another future diary holder. Or when it gets down to like a couple of them, is the game going to change? Cuz that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for Dose to be like there's only 7 of you left and now is when the real game begins and something happens and they get whisked away and isekai somewhere or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think's gonna happen at this first midpoint? Because this is the last time we're gonna talk about it next week.
Yeah.
We're gonna be
No,
watching
I
episode 9 through 13. Again, if you would like to watch along, Future Diary, and then we're gonna pick another anime after that on next week's episode. But what do you think's gonna happen, or what do you hope's gonna happen?
what I think that it's going to play on the monster of the week, like you were just talking about, how things are going right here, where it's going to just open arcs in one episode and like close arcs in another episode with all of these different diary users keep being continuously introduced and beaten somehow by Yuki and by them combining their diaries or whatever to get past whatever it is. What do I want to happen? I want the show to either completely like slow down, reel it back, and to dive into what's happened with and the dead bodies in her house, and Yuki to be able to have a way of like confronting that, whether or not it be via another diary user or something. I need that to be expanded on in these next 4 episodes for me to have any way of this show kind of like saving its grace for me.
Sure.
These 4 episodes were rough and didn't do the show a lot of favors
I
in
feel
my
like
book.
the roughest episodes we watched so far, which kind of sucks to
Yeah,
say. But out of all the anime, I think this is the roughest 4 episodes that we've watched for sure.
this is the roughest
Um,
batch so far.
CZ asked we watching all 13 episodes. So there's 24 episodes total. But by next week, we're gonna watch episode 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's a little different, 5 episodes, but that's when like the arc sort of ends. So like one more episode than usual. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 5 episodes by next week. And then we're picking a new anime after that. But yeah, I hope it doesn't continue the way it does. Probably
Mhm.
will. It'll probably get better in the second half because maybe they got a new budget or maybe they're going in a whole different way. I don't even know if this is made from a manga. I've not looked into it at all. I don't know if this is from a manga or something. Um, I don't know how many episodes this show. I think it's 24 for the first. Yeah, I don't know if there's a second season. But like this, I saw 24. Yeah, I want some closure on something, and I want more information about, like you said, the bodies in the literal bodies in the closet. Dose is such an interesting character, and we started out with so much stuff from him, and I want more of that stuff. I do like something that we haven't talked about. I do like the little ending post-credit scenes. Those are fun. Those are cute. Those aren't canon, quote
Not gonna
unquote.
lie, after episode 5, I started skipping through those. Just
Okay,
like I don't even just get me through the
Matt's
episodes.
done with
Please,
it. So
please get me through
looking
the next episode.
sure. So looking on this here, where I don't want to I don't want you to say it now, but
Yeah,
like it's
I
going to be
mean,
kind of low,
it's
right?
gonna be it's gonna be kind of low if given these. 8 episodes so far. I don't anticipate it being anywhere where I've ranked other shows before.
Because I want to find your S tier. I really hope we
Yes,
get to an S tier one that
we
Matt
will.
is just uh overjoyed with because I really liked Psychopaths a whole lot to be an S tier. But I doubt this one's gonna be it. Maybe the next one. We are gonna pick some new anime next week. Those are our list. That's our list here. We have some that we've contributed, some that the audience has contributed in the anime chest of champions there with the little eyes. And we'll be picking from that list as well as Dimension W. Got to add that to the chest. Thank
Yes,
you to
sir.
CZ again. But yeah, next week is the last time we're going to be talking about Future Diary. Thank you so much for watching. We
At
do these
Dimension
live
W.
on Thursday.
And it's
Dimension
in the
W
chest. It's in the
inside.
chest.
Thank you so much for watching live. Shout out to everybody watching live and watching on YouTube. Thank you for watching on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. You could watch on Spotify as well. If you're coming in late or something like that, you can watch the full episodes the day after on Spotify. You can view the videos on Spotify, which is something not a lot of people are doing, but you can watch these shows on Spotify or YouTube or listen on Apple Podcasts. Matt, where can they find you when you're not watching Future Diary?
When I'm not watching the best show ever, Future Diary, you can find me on my Twitch at Matt_Galley. Also on my socials at it's Matt_Galley. Um, honestly, you could also find me in the Discord all the time, gaming and watching shows with other people in the Discord. Our little Discord. We got
Yeah.
games all the time.
Um, I'm Jules the Human. I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/Jules the Human. You're probably watching on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jules the Human. And on Twitter and all that stuff. Links to everything, links to both of our stuff are in the show notes if you're watching this later. And yeah, I do you what do you hope the next anime is going to be before we go? What are you feeling right now with your anime watching? Do you want like a romance because we've got a lot of romance stuff in there? Do you want some like
I want something with
action?
literal zero conflict. I just want to see people and them doing happy things. Like that's how I feel after this one and
I
after
don't think
Psychopaths being like kind of close in
sure.
proximity. I'm ready for just I mean,
Fun.
I guess I'm just ready for another Zombieland
Okay.
detox.
Okay, cool.
Zombieland Saga detox.
We'll see if we get that next week. We're going to be picking a new anime next week. We're going to watch 5 episodes, 9 through 13 of Future Diary. So thanks for being here for the Jules and Matt Anime Hour, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.